In this video, you will learn everything you need to know about HTML so that you can creating your own website. You didn't need any programming experience to understand the contents. Um, why should you learn HTML? HTML is the first language you need to master on your journey to become a web developer. It is used to define which elements should be on your website. So if you want to style and design your website, you have to learn CSS. And if you want your websites to react so user interaction, you will have to learn JavaScript in simple words. In HTML is the skeleton of websites, CSS is the screen, and the JavaScript is the plane. So if you want to learn how to create websites, HTML is where you start. So let us jump right to it. To write HTML code, you only need two things, a browser and a text editor in this tutorial. This is Visual Studio and FC Code. To download the editor, you go to visualstudiocode.com. It is a free and available on Apple operating systems. You can go and download it. The first step when starting a web project is to create a new folder where you will keep all the important files for your website. You can name this folder whatever you want. For example, HTML tutorial. Now let us open the code, editor Visual Studio Code. Yes, let us open it. In FC Code, we will open the folder that we just created file, the open folder. In FC Code, we will open, that tutorial. Once you open that folder, it will appear in the subhere or the left HTML tutorial. I think you are seeing. So let us create our first HTML file. Click this icon to create a new file. We can call it index.html. It's very important that the file extension is .html. Now hit enter. This index.html file is a website. If you write anything here, for example hello world, it will appear on the website. Let us save and open your browser. Let us open this website by clicking the index HTML file copy part. Now, if you open there, it opens itself and paste the part. As we can see, it will open this website that says Hello World. This website, of course, not on the internet yet. If we look up here, we can see the location on my computer, not website part. Let us some HTML code to add some elements on this website. Since HTML is text based, you can simply write text in order to display it on the website. If you want to add some HTML elements like images, pattern, headings, and so on, you need tags. To write tags, you need to point brackets, the greater than and the smaller than characters. Here is an example of how a pattern is created in HTML. You start with the opening tag, which is basically just the word pattern written. That is the opening tag. Inside the printed brackets, then you write the content of your HTML. What is the display on pattern? After that, you write the closing tag. It is basically just the like. What is the open tag, but it is less simple. So let us try that in a VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Now, you could write smaller than pattern greater than. As we can see, FC Code automatically detects itself. You added the crossing tag, which is greater because it saves us time. Now we just have to define the content of the pattern, meaning what text should be displayed on the pattern. If we save the file and reload the page in the browser, we can see our new pattern, the subscriber we added. This is how you create HTML elements. Yeah, you can also see a list of HTML tags that you can use. Maybe, for example, if you want to have a headline, you need to h1. For example, open the h1 tag. Welcome to my website. This heading will then appear on the web page. If we write the h1, now we refresh and see that has been appeared there. Now I'm seeing we can see the heading is bigger than the h1 tag is the main heading. It is the most important heading on your website. Now, when you write text, let us say a blog article, you will be using a subheadings to structure. Subheading I created with the two headings, and as you remember, the h1 tag is the most and the use to be so are created. Now, as we see the h2, these are the smaller than the h1 heading. Of course, there is also h2, h3, and so on. So as you create it, it goes by decreasing. Now, They become smaller and smaller as the number increases. In HTML, there are also elements that do not require crossing tag, then so-called self-crossing tags. These are elements that don't have a content, for example, the input tag. So just write input to get an input field. There is no content and no crossing tag. So an input element is an area where the user can content exam. Okay, in HTML there are two main things. You already run that things are used to create elements. Attributes are additional values that changes the behavior of the element. An attribute is created in the opening tag right before the creator tag character. For example, I can write type equals and tiny quotation mark number. So then an input element is now meant explicitly for numbers. Let us save the file and reload the page in prose. Now as we reload, we can see that in there we cannot enter the text. If you try to enter text, it will not work. You can add numbers. There are also the smaller arrows that increase and decrease the numbers. So you can add numbers. So this is how attributes work. They change the behavior of the element. The HTML elements can also have several attributes. Just hit spacebar and add another attribute. For example, the placeholder. Placeholder is an hint for input element that tells the user the purpose of this input element. For example, enter your age. After that, not the user knows what to enter. If you want to create an entire website in HTML, not just to create a random elements as we have done so far, then you first need to understand the basic HTML structure. Every HTML document starts with the same basic code, and that is what I wanted to show you. The very important. Let us remove the what we have done before. The same basic HTML starts with the opening and closing tag. This tag HTML so represent the root element of an HTML document. It is the container for all the HTML elements, which maybe contains the body. HTML consists of the head and the body. You can think of HTML as the skeleton of your website. Humans also have a head and a body. The head contains a setting of our website, the HTML. Tags that you light in the area note elements that appear on the website. Here you light the settings. For example, the title tag. The title is in the same tab in your browse. Let us say the hero. Whatever I light here will be displayed here. Okay. Now, the body contains all the elements that they should appear on your website. Everything you light in here will be displayed on the website. For example, the hashtag one heading hero world here is displayed itself. We will refresh. We can see there. When you light the HTML, you will be working inside the body. So it is a basic HTML structure. It is so fundamental that FC Code has actual and implemented shortcut for that. So again, let us remove everything to generate the basic HTML structure. You only have to type the exclamation mark and enter pattern configuration that generates everything. All this code, as we can see, it's a little bit more than before. This is the first line document type HTML. This is that the type of this document is HTML. Next comes the HTML tag. We can see it is an attribute. The language attribute sets the language to English. If your website is in another language, you would have to change this language attribute to whatever language you are using. In the HTML head, there are 3 new tags and above the title tag. These tags are basic settings you most likely do not want to change. They control, for example, the character. The website, the UTF-8 character set in this mostly widely used character set. It contains the majority alphabets based on the Latin script like the English. I suggest that you just leave those meta tags there. We can ignore them for now. Now let us talk about something useful HTML elements that you can use on your own website. Since we have covered all the HTML basics, all you need to learn now are the different HTML elements that you can use. We have already talked about the headings, buttons, and the input elements. Apart from that, there is the anchor element, HTML, the tag. It's used to create links to other web pages inside the href attribute. You like the website path. For instance, http://www dot. The content of the anchor tag could be, hey, there, this is a link to YouTube. So we like that. We refresh. Hey, this is a link to YouTube. The Anga is element actually in pen. When you create a big website with multiple subtopics, actually this is what you will see. The link to websites, the subdomains. In your project folder, you can create another HTML file. For example, about us HTML. Now generate the basic HTML structure and add an H1 heading about us. This is now a sub website on the main website in Jax HTML. You can create another anchor element and refer to the button as HTML file in the href attribute. This link will now take me to about us page, but remember we are in the same page, YouTube. Now another very important tag is the div tag. Div means the division and is used to structure your HTML code. It is often just delivered as a container. This container has no effect on its content or layout until it is styled in CSS. So you will use it every often when you create your design for the websites in HTML. There are a lot of systematic, right? The div tag doesn't do anything particular when being created in HTML. For the general structure of the websites, these are the most common tags. A section in an entire area of websites are usually as main sections, which are separated from each other by color. Uh, for example, this is a header of area your website is usually most. I really recommend it because it is my mentor, not my mind, not my picture. I really like to use this. Now, the footer is the counterpart to header. It is the last section of the website and contains links like customer service, privacy, policy, contract information, and so on. You may think that these semantic HTML elements are useless because they don't change anything in HTML, but they are important once you style your website with the CSS, and they are important for screen readers that read in that. Now, let us talk about images. To add an image to your website, you to use image tag. This is a self-crossing tag, so it has a content and no crossing tag. So like image, now you can need to add an image to your project folder, meaning a file with the file extension png and remember you have to have an extension. This mail has no pin your project, no, okay, because now you use the clc attribute in the image tag and enter the name of the image file, because now you use, in my case, brand HB, that is the image, then the image should appear on the website, so which we have done there exactly what is the image clc. Now let us move on to list in HTML. There are other listed or not at list OR and UL tags. Now let us move on to lists. This is to create a list items. You use the LI tag. Hello world, list item and listed and displayed on the bullet points. Okay, I think you can see. Hello world. List items in order list are numbered. HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and that is. Now I want to take you to summary. The HTML hypertext markup language is used to structure the content of a web page to create HTML units to work with. It's used to structure. The most elements consist of an opening tag, it lists content, and the closing tag. Now, however, there are elements that they do not require content and closing tags. So, these are the elements can also be given attributes. This specify the elements and are important. So for styling CSS and later for programming JavaScript and so well, every website has a head and a body. All the settings are listed in the head, will not be displayed on the website. Everything inside the body will be displayed. We displayed in where? We displayed in the element. I think you can see the tutorials and how they have done for you the summary. As you can see, the smallest symbol things that I've done for you. The string, I think you can see that information, the CSS and anything. I think you have understood what I will teach today. If you not understood, you can let under the same message there. I understand and I will work on it. Please remember, I hope this video has given you a good introduction to web design. You want to see more from us, feel welcome and feel just subscribe and hit the height tag. I will appreciate. Thank you for your time. This is Antom Saga, and I recommend that if this is a good way, and HTML can make sure that you can grow through HTML and build your websites in a simple way. But